It's Debatable with Mark Gray here on MLBBro.com.
It's Debatable, where we debate, deliberate, and pontificate on all things Black baseball related. It's your boy, Mark Gray. That's my guy, Antonio Scott from the DC Grays. Coach Tony, what's the deal?
Nothing much, Mark. How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. So you're looking at baseball in the Boogie Down, baseball in the Bronx. Who's got the best chance of making the playoffs right now? The Yankees or the Mets?
This is not me being a biased Mets fan, but I'm always privy to the teams that are real hot when September comes around. And here we are in September. The Mets had a terrible August. The Yankees had a great August, and they've kind of flipped right now in the beginning of September. So I'm going to lean towards the Mets. With that said,
there is no way that if there's a team coming out of New York, that it won't be the Yankees that make the playoffs, which is not to say I think at this point any of the teams from the Big Apple are going to make it. Look, the Mets I don't think have enough offensively right now, and the health is a big question, and you don't know who's going to show up in the pitching staff on any given night. At least you got reason to believe that in the era of consistency, you do have Stanton and Judge in the middle of the lineup, and if Joey Votto is healthy, I like their shots. So I'm still going to ride or die in terms of the Big Apple teams with the Yankees, understanding that the Mets right now may be, in fact, playing their best baseball of the year. North of the border, the Toronto Blue Jays are surging, and it coincides with the return of the lineup of infielder Marcus Simien. So when you look at his WAR, wins against replacement, it's off the chart. So we see this guy is a difference maker when he's in the lineup, despite the stats, despite the figures. And take the mythic season of Ohtani from the Angels off the grid. Is he a legitimate MVP contender?
Wow, it's a good question. I think the only thing that might hurt him there is because he has a stint on, has had a stint or two on the injured list. But with that being said, to your point, yeah, you can't deny when he's in the lineup, that team is that much better. You know what I mean? This season. But you can't take away what Vlad Guerrero's been doing up there as well too. You know what I mean? Like Vlad's been putting, he hasn't been putting up gaudy, consistent numbers, but the stat line shows, and he's, his power numbers are there, and it's, that's also been contributing to their team a lot too. Their pitching has been a lot better over the past, month, so that's kind of helped them tremendously. So, yeah, but, Simien, I'm not going to deny Simien. I'm not going to flat out give it all to him, though. That's a pretty good team that they have up there, and a pretty good mix of players.
Anybody who puts, like, Fernando Tatis in the MVP candidacy for the National League needs to take a look at what's going on, because without Manny Machado in the middle of that lineup, Hosmer maybe, I'm not quite sure he's doing what he does. Vlad Guerrero is having a transcendent season, but let's be real about this. He's a much better offensive player when Simien's in that lineup also. So some of his notorious tears during the course of the season have come with Simien there. So remember, the question is contender. I'm not quite sure that he's in the top 2 or 3, but you definitely, if this were like the Heisman Trophy in New York, he probably would get an envelope saying, hey, come on up for the weekend and hang out, because I think that he's having that kind of season. The San Francisco Giants are the first team to have punched a ticket for October baseball. To quote the legendary MC Hammer, are the Giants too legit to quit?
That's exactly what they are. And that's the only way you can explain it. You know what I mean? You look at the Giants on paper, and you match them up against other teams. a lot of other teams outmatch them on paper, but they seem to just have a good mix. I mean, the coaching staff is very solid, and you can give a lot of credit to that, to Kaplan and his staff. I mean, leadership with Buster Posey, who's definitely a future Hall of Famer in my eyes. His consistency over the years. I mean, three championships under his belt already. I mean, look, it's hard to explain, but it's not far-fetched that this team is in first place and putting up the type of gaudy, win-loss record that they have.
I said coming into the season that I thought the intangible that gave them an opportunity to win a division was the fact that they were going to play for Buster Posey. Buster Posey is as significant to them as Derek Jeter was to the New York Yankees in terms of this era of consistent greatness that they've enjoyed. So when I look at the Giants, I'm thinking to myself, on paper, maybe not the most fashionable pick, but when you look at the intangibles and Gabe Kapler doing a tremendous job, I think I remember how to do this. What is it? Too legit to quit?
Yeah.
I got to roll with the Giants, man. The Giants are legit.
Yeah, man,
that is Coach Antonio Scott. I am Mark Gray. This has been Debatable. Remember, you leave that weak stuff out on the plate, we're going to take you deep. Deuces.
MLBBro.com, covering black and brown major leaguers.